How bad was the Great Oxidation Event? Welcome to Science for Real. Today, we will explore one of the most terrifying events in Earth's history, the Great Oxidation Event. This was not just a geological event, it was a revolutionary turning point that completely altered the structure of our planet and all living organisms upon it. But here's the interesting part. While we often think of oxygen as a life-giving element, the Great Oxidation Event was actually responsible for the extinction of millions of species. So how bad was the Great Oxidation Event really? What transformations did it bring about in our living environment, and how did it influence the evolution of life? Let's dive into this fascinating and complex story, where life, death, and rebirth are intertwined in a wondrous tapestry. Allow us to take you on a journey to uncover the mysteries of Earth's history. Science for Real. Where the truth leads the way. 1. The biological revolution. From the age of dinosaurs to the Paleogene period. Earth, in its journey over millions of years, was once a vibrant universe inhabited by colossal creatures like dinosaurs roaming freely. During the Cretaceous period, nothing was too large, from the gigantic dinosaurs to the massive marine life, all vying to be the stars of this natural universe. Their fossils, with their enormous sizes, seemed to proclaim, "We were the celebrities of the planet." Then, unexpectedly, a turning point occurred. We transitioned into the Paleogene period, where the picture of nature began to feel somewhat duller. While the dinosaurs basked on beaches, some troublesome friends decided to call in a crisis. This period witnessed a dramatic decline in the giant species, as if they had forgotten that dinosaurs would not be the kings of the universe forever. The rock layers from this time reflect a world eerily quiet, where only a few small species remain, whispering to one another, "Well, now we are the only stars left." This was not just a struggle among species, it was an ongoing battle between life and death. Harsh climate changes and shocks from asteroids forced many dinosaurs to say a permanent farewell. This left behind a new world, where smaller species, like our ancestors, began to navigate the challenging path of survival. 2. The terrifying transformation. From the decline of dinosaurs to the rise of smaller species. When we think of dinosaurs, we often envision colossal, powerful creatures resembling a mobile circus of nature. During the Cretaceous period, Earth was a grand stage where dinosaurs paraded like Hollywood stars. But then, suddenly, everything changed. These giants faced a catastrophe that left the world in shock. A friendly asteroid decided to turn their lives into a tragic comedy. As the impact occurred, the dinosaurs thought they could just be clowns and continue to enjoy themselves. But the reality was different. The sky darkened, trees were scorched, and millions of species vanished in the blink of an eye. It was a horrifying transformation, a nightmare that even filmmakers couldn't have imagined. While the mighty dinosaurs fled in panic, the smaller creatures breathed a sigh of relief. They didn't have time to ponder, what will we do when there are no dinosaurs? Because now, they were the main characters in this story. These smaller species, from rodents to even tinier creatures, began to take center stage. They not only survived, they began to thrive. Our ancestors found ways to exist in a new world where life was no longer dominated by size. Instead of engaging in wrestling matches with gigantic dinosaurs, they learned to adapt and evolve, becoming the exceptional supporting actors in this evolving narrative. 3. The legend of the Alvarez father and son. Discoveries about the decline of the dinosaur world. The story of the Alvarez father and son unfolds like a thrilling detective film, filled with unexpected twists and mysteries waiting to be unraveled. In 1980, these two scientists, Walter and Luis Alvarez, decided to not only explore rock layers but also to dig deep into a significant secret of Earth's history, the extinction of the dinosaurs. They resembled nature's detectives, searching for evidence to solve one of humanity's greatest questions. Why did the dinosaurs disappear? By sampling the boundary between the Cretaceous and Paleogene periods in Italy, they discovered something peculiar, a thin dark layer of rock between the two eras. This wasn't just an ordinary rock layer, it was a sign of a catastrophic event that had taken place. The presence of iridium, a rare metal on Earth but found in high concentrations in this layer, led the Alvarez duo to consider a cosmic collision. Imagine the scene. An 80-kilometer-wide asteroid plunging straight into the Yucatan Peninsula, Mexico, with enough force to obliterate everything in its path. When the asteroid struck, it darkened the sky, ignited forests, and triggered a series of natural disasters. Meanwhile, the dinosaurs could only stand by, unaware that their party was about to come to an abrupt end. The Alvarez father and son discovered that this impact was not merely an ending for the age of dinosaurs but the beginning of a new era. They were like time detectives, revealing that life on Earth is always a story of constant change, where shocks from nature can alter everything in the blink of an eye. 4. The ecological crisis, the end Permian catastrophe. When thinking about ecological disasters, many might immediately picture the striking images of dinosaurs and cosmic collisions. But let me introduce you to a quieter, killer, a crisis that can truly be described as the greatest disaster in the planet's history, the end Permian catastrophe. Imagine a beautiful day around 252 million years ago, when Earth was teeming with life, and creatures like fish, insects, and large amphibians coexisted in harmony. However, little did they know that a terrible storm was approaching, not a rainstorm or a sandstorm, but a global-scale ecological crisis. The cause? A series of massive volcanic eruptions unleashed vast amounts of CO2 and other toxic substances into the atmosphere, raising temperatures to scorching levels. Sea levels rose, and life in the oceans began to decline dramatically. To visualize it, think of trapping millions of creatures in a boiling pressure cooker. The results were catastrophic. 96% of marine species and 70% of terrestrial species were wiped out. This was the Great Dying, the greatest death toll the planet has ever witnessed. Species like trilobites and ammonites, once abundant and dominant, suddenly vanished as if they had gone on a never-returning vacation. But the story doesn't end there. This crisis teaches us an important lesson about the resilience of life. Despite enduring nature's wrath, life on Earth found a way to recover. The surviving species, though representing only a small fraction, created new opportunities for evolution and growth. 5. The emergence of photosynthesis, a revolution from bacteria to ecosystems. While we often think of photosynthesis as a simple phenomenon, imagine if it were actually a grand revolution, starting from tiny bacteria in the ocean and leading to a transformation of the entire planet. This story begins billions of years ago, when Earth was still a dark place, inhabited by bacteria living near hydrothermal vents on the ocean floor. These bacteria, like talented artists, discovered how to sing with sunlight. They invented photosynthesis, but not the kind we know today. This was a dangerous version, using infrared light and toxic chemicals, producing byproducts like sulfur and sulfuric acid. If you think this is a bad cooking method, just imagine how these bacteria felt, unaware that they were creating a deadly weapon for themselves. As photosynthesis became more widespread, these happy bacteria evolved into more complex ecosystems. However, as they continued to create, a miracle also occurred. Oxygen, a byproduct of photosynthesis, began to appear, becoming an uninvited guest in the atmosphere. That was when life on the planet started to face a crisis. Yes, oxygen, which we now consider essential, became a toxin for many living organisms at that time. The bacteria that once nurtured life now had to confront their own greatest enemy. Many species had to bid farewell to Earth because they could not withstand the very gas they had once produced. 6. When oxygen became the enemy, the greatest oxygen catastrophe. In the mysterious annals of Earth's history, nothing is more shocking than the fact that oxygen, one of the essential elements for life, became the number one enemy. This story begins around 2.4 billion years ago, when a biological revolution transformed Earth into a colossal oxygen-producing factory. Photosynthetic bacteria began to breathe out oxygen as if they were hosting a celebration, unaware that this gift was a ticking time bomb for many other organisms. Initially, oxygen was seen as a miracle, helping various life forms to flourish and thrive. However, no one anticipated that with the increasing levels of oxygen in the atmosphere, things would soon become a bit stuffy. Oxygen is highly reactive, and it began to attack the bacteria that couldn't adapt it. Primitive bacteria, like the artists of a performance, suddenly lost their audience as the auditorium filled with toxic air. The emergence of oxygen triggered an unimaginable ecological disaster. The bacteria that were unable to withstand oxygen were wiped out in droves, leading to an unprecedented ecological crisis. The old ecosystem, predominantly composed of anaerobic bacteria, was nearly entirely eradicated. Imagine a grand party where everyone feels suffocated and unable to breathe. That was the atmosphere of Earth at that time. 7. The story of iron formations. Legacies of the ecological crisis in the epic tale of Earth. Iron formations are not just ordinary rock layers. They are vibrant witnesses to one of the worst ecological crises in the planet's history. Let's delve into this remarkable story, where iron is not merely an element but the central character in the grand drama titled, The Oxygen Catastrophe. About 2.4 billion years ago, as oxygen began to appear in the atmosphere like a newly walking toddler, everything seemed optimistic. However, it wasn't long before oxygen turned into a terrifying enemy, leaving millions of anaerobic bacteria and organisms without refuge. Moreover, oxygen started interacting with minerals in the oceans, creating a chemical reaction that was both miraculous and catastrophic. As oxygen dissolved in the water, it reacted with iron in the seawater, transforming it into iron oxide, the very foundation of the iron formations we see today. Imagine a captivating scene where red rivers flow through the oceans, turning the water into an eerie tableau of reds and blacks. These minerals gradually settled on the ocean floor, forming the iron formations that would later become valuable resources for humanity. When we gaze upon these iron formations, we see not only sparkling stones but also feel a poignant story. They are a testament to the ecological crisis, a reminder that every innovation can lead to unforeseen consequences. These layers record the demise of millions of organisms that could not withstand the enemy they had inadvertently created. However, the story doesn't end there. The iron formations also symbolize nature's resilience. As oxygen gradually became essential for life, many new species emerged, those capable of adapting to the new environment. From the remnants of disaster, iron formations transformed into the foundation for the rich ecosystems we see today. 8. The Ice Age Catastrophe, the glacial period following the oxygen revolution. Imagine living in a world where everything is flourishing, and suddenly, a chilling air sweeps in like an uninvited guest. This was the scenario our planet faced after the oxygen revolution, an event that not only reshaped the atmosphere but also brought about a glacial catastrophe lasting millions of years. After photosynthesis became the superstar of biology, the first organisms began producing oxygen at an astounding rate. While oxygen was a gift for many species, it forced many old organisms to bid farewell. However, what no one anticipated was that as oxygen levels began to rise, it triggered an unimaginable consequence, the destruction of the climate. As oxygen flooded the atmosphere, it started reacting with methane, a potent greenhouse gas. The conversion of methane into carbon dioxide reduced the greenhouse effect, causing the Earth to gradually cool down. If you think of this transformation as adjusting the temperature in a refrigerator, think again. It was essentially a massive freezing shock. The Ice Age set in, and the planet was blanketed in ice several hundred meters thick. The sight was incredible. Once fertile lands now covered in snow and ice, while organisms struggled to adapt to the bone-chilling cold. Just like a party interrupted by a snowstorm, life on Earth was thrust into a fierce survival battle. 9. Lessons from the past. Lost ecosystems to draw experiences for the future. When we look back at Earth's history, we see not only gigantic dinosaurs and devastating natural disasters, we also uncover invaluable lessons etched into the remnants of lost ecosystems. These are stories of loss, but they also serve as powerful lessons for the future that we cannot ignore. Imagine sitting by a riverbank that was once home to millions of organisms, from colossal fish to bizarre bacteria. But now, the river has run dry, and the rich ecosystem has vanished, leaving only fragments of the past. From the extinction of dinosaurs to the oxygen crisis and the Ice Age catastrophe, each event is a chapter in a book teaching us about survival and adaptation. One of the greatest lessons we can learn is the power of interconnectedness in nature. Ecosystems are not merely collections of species. They are complex networks where every component plays a crucial role. When one link in the chain is lost, the entire ecosystem can collapse. Think of it like a game of chess. If you lose an important piece, you could lose the entire match. Additionally, history teaches us about resilience. While many ecosystems have disappeared, nature possesses an incredible ability to regenerate. The surviving species have demonstrated that adaptability and perseverance are key to survival. We must remember that even in the worst situations, life can find a way to recover and thrive. This is a positive message amidst the challenges we face today. And so we have explored the Great Oxidation Event, one of the harshest turning points in Earth's history. From the sudden waves of oxygen, countless species faced extinction, but simultaneously, it paved the way for new life forms to rise and thrive. This story not only reminds us of the power of nature but also highlights the resilience and adaptability of life. We have seen that change, no matter how daunting, can also bring about new opportunities. We live in a world where oxygen is not only vital for life but also a force capable of altering everything. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Don't forget to subscribe and follow Science for Real to ensure you don't miss any exciting discoveries in the future. We look forward to seeing you in our next adventures, where the truth leads the way.